Most of the fear running your life is not happening right now. It's happening in your imagination. And your body is paying the price for a future that has not even arrived yet. That's the hard truth. But stay with me. Because anxiety can feel like wisdom. It can feel like preparation. It can feel like discernment. But sometimes it's not discernment at all. Sometimes it's fear rehearsing the worst case scenarios until your body starts believing it. And once your body believes it, fear starts making decisions for you. It decides what to avoid. It decides what you will delay. It will decide what you'll overthink. It'll decide what you control. It decides where you never even try, and it will decide where you will be honest. Fear doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes fear looks responsible. Sometimes fear looks practical, or I'm just being realistic. Sometimes fear looks like waiting until you feel ready. But if fear is shaping your imagination, your decisions, your relationships, your obedience, and your view of the future, then fear has moved from being a feeling to becoming your leader. And fear was never meant to lead your life. Today, we're going to talk about how to stop rehearsing the worst case scenarios and to start renewing your mind in a way that actually changes how you live. Not in a fluffy way, not in a fake positive vibe, positive thinking way, not just calm down, but in a grounded, practical, faith-filled way. Because you can have faith and still feel fear. You can love God and still feel anxious. You can know scripture and still have a nervous system that feels overwhelmed, dysregulated. It's not about shame. This is about looking at anxiety in a different way. It's not about judging yourself for having human emotions. It's about learning how to notice the fear loop, interrupt it, renew your mind, and take the next faithful step anyways. That's what we're going to walk through today in the salt and light framework of reveal, reset, renew, restore. Because what you rehearse, you reinforce. And what you keep rehearsing, especially fear, will become familiar. And if you rehearse truth, that can become familiar too. So let's start with reveal. Reveal means to stop pretending the problem is only external. Stop saying, I'm stressed out because of that person. I'm anxious because of this situation. I'll feel better when this gets resolved or that person goes away. Stop minimizing your responsibility, the conversations, the real health concerns, the real financial pressures, the real relational issues, the real unknowns. The question isn't just what's happening. The deeper question is, what am I rehearsing? Because sometimes the thing happening is one issue, but the thing we're rehearsing is much bigger, much deeper. You have a big conversation coming, but your mind's already rehearsed the rejection, the humiliation, conflict, abandonment, or failure. You have an appointment coming up, but your mind's already rehearsed the worst possible diagnosis. You have an opportunity in front of you, but your mind's already rehearsed why you're not qualified, why it will fail, why people will judge you, why you should probably just stay right where you are. That's the power of rehearsal. The mind doesn't take one fact and build one small thing. It builds a whole fear future around it. And if we don't reveal that, we'll keep reacting to the imagined outcomes as if they already exist as true. So ask yourself honestly, what am I rehearsing? Am I rehearsing rejection? Am I rehearsing failure? Am I rehearsing embarrassment? Am I rehearsing loss? Am I rehearsing being misunderstood again? Am I rehearsing being not enough? Am I rehearsing that something bad is always about to happen? For some of us, the fear is not even specific anymore. It's become an atmosphere of fear. You wake up feeling braced. You move through your day guarded. You scan the room. You anticipate the problem. You prepare for the disappointment. I lived like this. You expect the other shoe to always drop. And after a while, you just start calling that caution. But there's a difference between preparation and torment. Preparation says, here's what I can do in this situation. Torment says, here's everything that could go wrong, and I need to mentally live through all of it before it even happens. Preparation leads to action. Torment leads to paralysis. Preparation leads to peace. Torment has punishment built into it. And for some of us, we've been punishing ourselves with imagined futures and calling it responsibility. That's the blind spot worth confronting. Because fear will gladly dress itself up as wisdom if it gets to stay around and be in charge. It says, don't try that. You need to be careful. Don't speak up. Just be humble. Don't start. You have to wait for the right time. Don't hope. But you're actually just protecting yourself. When you say don't trust, it's not being realistic. Underneath it all is the question that's very simple. Is this wisdom or is this fear? Wisdom prepares us, but we move. Fear rehearses and freezes us. Wisdom can assess risk without surrendering all hope. Fear magnifies risk until obedience feels almost impossible. Wisdom listens to God. Fear listens to the worst case scenario. So reveal is where we name it, not shame it. We don't dramatize it. We don't deny it either. We name it. I'm rehearsing rejection in this situation, or I'm rehearsing failure or loss or shame or just the worst case scenario. That sentence matters because you cannot renew what you refuse to reveal. Once you reveal it, you can reset it. Reset means interrupt the spiral in your body, not just your mind. It's physical, and this is critical. Once the fear activates your nervous system, you cannot always think your way out of it. Your body is already responding as if the threat is present. Your heart rate may rise. Your chest may feel tight. Your breathing may get shallow. Your jaw gets clenched. Your shoulders lift up. Your stomach may turn. Your focus narrows. When all that happens, your body starts giving your brain more evidence that something is wrong. That's why anxiety feels so convincing. The thought creates a feeling, and that feeling confirms the thought. It's circular. And then the thought gets louder, and then you're in that loop. So reset begins by slowing down the body enough for truth to become accessible again. Here's a simple reset you can do anywhere. Pause. Put one hand on your chest and one hand on your stomach, and take one slow inhale. Then make the exhale longer than the inhale, and then do it again. Slow inhale, longer exhale. You're not trying to perform peace. You're trying to create enough space so you can respond instead of react. Then ask, what's actually happening right now? Not what could happen. Not what am I imagining? Not what fear is predicting. What is actually happening right now? That question brings you back to the present moment because anxiety often drags your body into a future you have not entered into yet. So come back into the room. What do I see? What do I hear? What do I know? What is true right now? Not tomorrow, today. Not next year. Not in the imaginary disaster in my mind. Today. That's the reset. It's not denial. It's not pretending nothing matters. It's not refusing to let the truth speak, but it's not letting yourself be hijacked by a lie. Say to yourself, I'm not going to let an imagined future hijack my present obedience, because that's what fear does. It steals obedience in advance. It gets you to quit before you start. It gets you to shrink when you want to speak. It gets you to hide before you let anybody really see you. It gets you to numb before you feel. It gets you to over control before you trust. It gets you to delay before you discern. And at some point you have to say, no, I am not handing over my assignment to an imagined outcome. No, I'm not going to let fear write the ending before I've given the next step a chance. No, I'm not going to let my body's activation become my authority. My body may be activated, but fear doesn't need to lead. That's the reset. Then we need to move into renew. And renew means that we don't just stop rehearsing fear. It's when we start rehearsing truth. This is where so many people miss it. They try to just stop anxious thoughts. but they don't replace them with anything stronger. They say, I just need to stop thinking this way. But the mind needs direction. Attention needs leadership. Your imagination needs stewardship. So Renew asks, what's a truer thought? What's a faithful thought? What's the thought that aligns with who God says I am and who He's asking me to become? Not fake positive thinking, not fluffy thoughts, not everything will be okay or going to be perfect and rainbows and butterflies. That's not renewal. That's fantasy. Renewal is not pretending the hard thing is not hard. Renewal is choosing the truth in the middle of the hard thing. It sounds something like, it may feel fear, but I don't need to obey it. I may feel uncomfortable, but I'm going to be obedient. I may feel uncertain, but I'm going to take the next right step. My body may be dysregulated, but I am not in present danger. God has given me wisdom, power, love, and a sound mind. I can prepare without spiraling. I can be brave without feeling ready. I can feel afraid, but still move forward with God's help. This is how you begin to retrain your attention, because attention is one of the most powerful things you could steward. What you keep looking at grows. What you keep rehearsing gains authority. What you keep feeding gets stronger. And if you constantly feed fear, fear will grow. And if you constantly rehearse disaster, disaster will feel familiar. If you constantly picture yourself failing, shrinking, losing, being rejected, your body prepares for that as if it's inevitable. But if you begin with rehearsing truth, courage, wisdom, and obedience, something starts to shift. Not always instantly, not magically, but steadily. And this is where faith and formation meet. Romans 12:2 talks about being transformed by the renewing of our mind. That's not just a beautiful verse or a journal cover. That's a pattern of transformation. We're being transformed as our minds are renewed. And as renewal requires anything, it needs repetition. We need repetition. Anxiety had repetition. Old stories had repetition. Worst case scenarios got repetition. So truth needs repetition too. Not just once, one and done, not casually, not when you're falling apart, daily, deliberately, practically. This is where the framework matters, because when your emotions are loud, you need something simple enough that you can return to. Reveal, what am I rehearsing? Reset, what is actually happening right now? Renew, what is the truth I need to rehearse instead? Restore, what is the next faithful step? And that brings us to the restore. Restore is where we move, because peace is not just a feeling. Peace becomes embodied when we take aligned action. Fear wants you frozen. Faith wants you to take a step. Not 10, not the whole thing, just not guaranteed. Just make a step. Take one small step. Go to a meeting. Reach out for help. Start writing. Start praying honestly. Post a video. Set some boundaries. Book the appointment. Send the message. Get involved with a group. Not recklessly, but faithfully. Because every time you take a wise, brave step, even when fear is present, you teach your nervous system something new. You teach your body, fear can be present, but I can still move. That's powerful. A lot of people are waiting for fear to leave before they obey. But sometimes obedience is what teaches us that fear is no longer in charge. So let me say that again. Sometimes obedience is what teaches fear that it's no longer in charge. You may not feel calm first. You may not feel confident first. You may not feel ready first, but you can be grounded enough to take the next faithful step. And that is restoration. It's not just calming down and settling. It's coming into alignment, back to truth, back into your body, and back into the present, back to God, back to who you are, back to what matters. And let's be honest, some of us have lost time to fear. We've lost opportunities to overthinking. We have lost joy to the imagined disasters in our mind. We've lost presence because our minds are living in 3 steps of ahead in a future that doesn't even exist. But restoration says, I can return. I can come back. I can stop rehearsing the life predicted and stop participating in the life that God is forming. Because fear is not always a stop sign. Sometimes fear is just a signal that your imagination needs no more leadership. Put you in charge. Anxiety is not your prophecy. And you are not powerless. You can reveal the loop. You can reset your body. You can renew your mind. And you can restore your next step and your new life. Before we close, I just want to give you a short practice. And you can do this anytime you feel the spiral starting. Put both feet on the floor. Relax your shoulders. Take a slow, deep breath in and a longer breath out. And now ask yourself, what am I rehearsing? What am I feeling in my body? Now ask, what's actually happening right now? Come back to the present. Now ask, what truth do I need to rehearse instead? Now choose one sentence. And finally, what's one faithful step you can take today? Not your whole life, not a whole future, just one step. That's how we begin again. And I want to pray over you. For the person listening who feels overwhelmed and anxious, tired of rehearsing the worst case scenarios, meet them where they are. Help them discern the difference between wisdom and fear, between preparation and torment, between truth and imagination. Renew their mind, steady their body, restore their courage, and let them be present in the moment with you, God. Give them grace, give them strength. Let peace guard their heart and mind, and let fear lose authority that it doesn't deserve to have. I pray all this in your mighty name. If this has helped you, save it and come back to it when your mind starts rehearsing the worst case scenarios. Or better yet, share it with somebody you think it could bless. And remember that fear may be loud, but it does not need to lead. I'll see you next time.